Welcome ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? I'm Furo and today we will have the first episode of card reviews for the next Hearthstone expansion, which is called Journey to Ungoro. Journey to Ungoro will come out early April, rumor is on the 6th of April. It's featuring 135 new cards, and there was a big reveal stream on Friday which was featuring 11 new cards. The stream was pretty chill. The day 9 host did a great job in my opinion. There were some technical issues here and there, but the rest of the stream was definitely fine. So let's look at the 11 cards that were announced at the event. Well, let's start with the first revealed card, and that was the new very epic, which is called Explore Ungoro. It's a spell costing 2 mana, and this one replaces your deck with copies of Discover a Card. Here is important to mention that it's replace your deck and not replace your deck and your hand. So your hand will stay the same, but your deck will all only have copies of Discover a Card. Discover a Card are 1 mana spells, and they are just what they're doing, discovering a card. So you're getting the option out of 3 cards, and these are either neutral or class cards. So you're not getting cards from other classes, only your own class. That means if you're playing Priest and you get that, for example, with a Thought Steal, then you would discover Priest and neutral cards. It's a Warrior card, so in general, if you're playing Warrior, then of course you're getting Warrior and neutral cards. The card is rather similar to Renounce Darkness, which is a Warlock card, but there are a few differences. First of all, of course, you're only discarding your deck with then replacing it with Discover some cards, and it is affecting all cards in your deck, not only your class cards but every card. Renounce Darkness will only be the class cards. Also, it is discovering instead of just getting random cards, so discovering is a bit better, but in this case you will then pay that for 1 extra mana. Renounce Darkness cheapens all your cards by 1, and the Explore Ungoro is costing 1 per card, so you will pay 1 to discover another card, which is kind of expensive, and the card in general is not that great. You need to pay 2, then you need to pay another 1 to play the first card to discover a new card, and that might not even be good. Definitely a great card if you want to have fun with Hearthstone, if you want to play some troll decks, if you want to troll your opponent, then this is a good card, but don't expect to see Explore Ungoro high on the ladder. That is normally not happening. Let's have a look at the next revealed card, and this one is called Sicilian Shellraiser. A 4 mana priest common card with Taunt, has 2/6 in stats, so that's kind of decent, and a Death Rattle effect, which is giving a random friendly minion +1/+1. So the Death Rattle effect is a nice bonus on the card, but in general you can expect that your opponent is always trying to deny you the effect. So if you don't have any other minions on the board and the Shellraiser is dying, then of course the Death Rattle effect is not hitting anything. You might get the effect, you might not get the effect, but what is more important is that the Shellraiser as a Death Rattle unit can be used for the new Priest quest, which is Awaken the Makers. When you summon 7 Death Rattle minions, you will get the reward for the Awaken the Makers, and which is Amara Warden of Hope. Pretty good card, so you definitely want to include a lot of Death Rattle units in your deck, and the Sicilian Shellraiser is a card that fits perfect into the deck. So you can play a lot of Death Rattle units early on, then have your Amara Warden of Hope as fast as possible, and the Tortollan Shellraiser will help you a lot against aggro. Taunt is great, has some decent life on it. Of course your opponent can, for example, use a Fireball, kill the 6 life unit, but still that is eating a Fireball, so good card I would say. Not the best one, the stats could be a bit higher of course, but it is a decent card and it will see play, especially in the quest deck. If you're playing the Awaken the Makers Priest quest, then the deck is definitely coming into play for sure, 100%. Otherwise in other decks you might want to play other cards on turn 4, but in the Death Rattle deck this one is seeing play. And while we are already talking about quest for the Ungoro expansion, there was also a new quest revealed, and this one is the Warlock quest. So we are looking at the legendary Warlock spell called Lakkari Sacrifice, costing 1 of course, like every other quest spell, and the quest is discard 6 cards, and then the reward is a Nether Portal. So what is a Nether Portal? The Nether Portal is a 5 mana spell that is open a permanent portal that summons 3/2 imps. Permanent in this case definitely means permanent. The devs told us that it is not possible to kill the card right now. You can't silence that, you can't kill that with any card. So it is staying on the board as it's hitting one of the slots, so you are then only able to play 6 minions for the rest of the game. And at the end of your turn, it will always spawn 2 3/2 imps. Not 1, but 2, so that's pretty huge and your opponent will have a hard time to kill that. What is more difficult might be to get the quest going, so we need to discard 6 cards. Right now there are already a lot of discard cards in the game, but keep in mind that we have only seen a few of the UNGORO cards, so there might be more discard cards in the expansion. We don't know for sure, so I can only look at that right now from my perspective and with the cards we have seen. They announced another discard card, which I will show you after this one. So it's definitely not impossible to discard 6 cards, but it is tougher, I would say, than the Priest quest, where you need to just play 7 Death Rattle units. That should be easier. You can just play on curve on turn 2, 3, 4, every turn, play a Death Rattle unit, and on turn 7 or 8, depending on how many Death Rattle units you have played, the quest should be fulfilled. The Lakkari sacrifice might take a bit longer, but when you have the Nether Portal and play that on the board, it is such a huge threat for your opponent and he cannot get rid of it. So that's an ongoing effect. More and more imps are spawning on the board, and a good counter for that might be Baron Geddon. So if your opponent has that, but then you need to attack that against your deck. That is normally not happening. You will probably not play the card in a zoo deck. There is not the right place for it, but more maybe we can find a mid-range or control warlock deck that can fit the Lakkari sacrifice. That should be possible. Some discard lock with the more mid-range version, not the more aggressive one. That is possible, so I'm definitely interested in the card. It's the first time we are seeing such an effect, an ongoing effect that can't be killed, a permanent effect. Will be interesting to see what else is in the expansion that can allow you to discard cards. The card that was shown alongside the Lakkari sacrifice was the Lakkari Felhound, which is a 4 mana warlock card, a common card, and has 3/8 in stats, also has taunt like the priest common, and battle cry, discard 2 random cards. All the stats are very good for the Lakkari Felhound for 4 mana. It's not a 7/7 shaman card, but it's definitely not bad. Would have been a bit stronger if it was a 4/7 card, because then priest is not able to kill that easily. Right now with 3 attack, Shadow White Pain will just kill the Lakkari Felhound, or the priest can steal that card, so that would be pretty bad for you. Otherwise, it is a decent card, and it will help you to get the Lakkari sacrifice rolling. So discarding 2 cards that early, plus the other discard cards, is definitely improving the possibility to get the quest going. That's for sure. Also stats are nice, and with the taunt, it is more of a mid-range 2 control card, so just what the Lakkari sacrifice needed. With that in mind, the Lakkari Felhound will definitely see play in a deck that is running the Lakkari sacrifice, so we might see a comeback from the discard log. It was great in One Night in Sherazin, then with the Gallacher expansion just fell off a hard cliff, but now discard log might be coming back. I like that a lot because Warlock is my favorite class, so let's hope that there's more decent stuff for Warlock in the expansion, and then discard log coming back huge on the ladder, I hope so. Lakkari sacrifice is a nice card, Lakkari Felhound works decent with that, so you can expect to see both on the ladder at the start of the expansion for sure. Next up is the Arcanologist, which is a new mage common, a minion, 2 mana, it is costing, has 2/3 in stats, and battlecry, draw a secret from your deck. Not playing, but drawing a secret, so you could potentially play that on turn 2, draw a secret from your deck and play a secret on turn 3, so that's not too bad. They want to push Secret Mage here, and my fear is that the Mage quest is just play an X amount of secrets over the course of the game, and then the quest is activated. I hope that's not the case, but it could be, because Blizzard was pushing Secret Mage quite a lot over the last couple of expansions. So far, Secret Mage was not that great because the secrets are a bit too expensive for that to happen. I mean, they have now a lot of cards and tools to build a Secret Mage deck, so it might work out. But in general, the secrets are a bit too expensive, can be played around quite easily. It's not on Secret Paladin power levels, but with enough tools in the expansion, Secret Mage might be getting better. So we might see more Secret Mages on the ladder. And keep in mind that the card can also be played greatly in a Kazakus deck. So Kazakus is still not rotating out, only Reno Jackson, and we might want to play the stuff like the Arcanologist in the Kazakus deck to look, for example, for the Iceberg. If that's the only secret in the deck, So to help you to survive longer, Arcanologist might run this one. Otherwise, we need to wait if there are more cards for the Secret Mage and if the quest is really just going into play an X amount of secrets, and then you will be good. So might be happening, I hope not, but if it is happening, then you definitely want to play the Arcanologist in the deck as well. Which leads us to the next legendary, which is called Elise the Trailblazer. And this one is very interesting because the effect is super unique. So for 5 mana you will get a 5/5 unit, which is average, has a battle cry, shuffle a sealed Ungoro pack into your deck. And a sealed Ungoro pack is really a sealed Ungoro pack, so the Ungoro pack is costing 2 mana and adds 5 Journey to Ungoro cards to your hand. The developers at the reveal stream told us that the 5 Journey to Ungoro cards are better than you are getting on average in a pack, so there's a higher chance to get legendaries, epics and rare out of the pack than you will normally get. So you're not getting 1 rare and 4 commons in most of the games, but you will get more epics and more legendaries. So the question is if the card is any good. I mean, 5 new cards into your hand is a lot of value. It's similar to Elise, so you will play the old Elise, you will play the card early in your game and then hope to get some sort of value later in the game. So it's definitely a control card. You will not play that in an aggressive or mid-range version in most cases. And then hope to get in the end game your Ungoro pack. You can also wait until you're running out of cards and then play the Ungoro pack and have 5 new cards, which are hopefully helping you. But you can't be sure about that. So it could be that you're getting a pile of shit, then you're just losing the game. Otherwise, it is creating value for sure because you're just paying 2 to get 5 new cards. And on average, you will get better cards than you have paid. Personally, I like the old Elise a bit better than this one. The old Elise was more fun in my opinion because you were getting random legendaries. I'm definitely not a huge fan of variance card that will just give you random shit. And the new Elise is more or less the same like the old one, giving you random shit. Could be super great, could be super bad. Can't be sure about that. Also keep in mind that the old Elise, because there are more and more legendaries released that are costing fewer mana costs than earlier in the game. So the base set and Goblin vs Gnomes, there the legendaries were way higher costs than the new ones. For example, in Gallacher, there were a lot of low cost minis that were legendary. So the pool of legendaries you can get with the Elise is getting wider and wider. So the average amount of cards you're getting, the value of that, is getting a bit lower. So the Elise Trailblazer, it will always stay the same because the Ungoro expansion will always stay the same if they're not nerfing cards or dropping cards out, which is not super likely because, you know, Blizzard, they're not doing that often. So Elise will stay the same in value, while the old Elise, the first we got ever, is getting a bit weaker and weaker with every expansion where we got shitty legendaries. So keep that in mind. Elise the Trailblazer is definitely seeing play in control decks and maybe even some mid-range decks. Probably not, you will only see that in control most often, but maybe someone is trying to do that in mid-range as well. Control definitely card that you will play because you want to have the value for the late game. Otherwise, not that great. I'm not that fan of Elise, but it is seeing play for sure, guys. Following now is the next card that was revealed, which is called Gallacher Crolla, which is a 2 mana 2/3 and has a battle cry. That is such a shame that this card wasn't in the Gallacher expansion. It is destroying a pirate and gaining +1/+1. So the Gallacher meta was just pirates over pirates and some Jade Shamans and some Jade Druids and some Reno decks. So with the Gallacher Crolla in the Gallacher expansion, that would have been a really good tech card in many decks because you were facing so many pirates on the ladder. So I would have definitely, if the card was released, I can see the card being played at that time. With the Ungoro expansion, we can't be sure how many pirate decks will be surviving the meta. So it can be that Blizzard is releasing the card right now and then there will be so few pirate decks on the ladder that you can't play the Gallacher Crolla because it is not worth it. The stats are alright for a 2 mana creature, so you have a 2/3 on average if your opponent is not running pirates, so not bad stats, but you will not play this card if there are not super many pirates on the ladder. And that is probably happening. I'm not sure how many pirate decks will survive. We will have to wait and see. If there are, again, many pirate decks on the ladder, everyone will just play the Crawler and then the amount of pirates is decreasing because the Crawler is kind of good against pirate decks. But it's just another form of an hungry crab, right? Which was killing a Murloc, and this one is also not being played. So if there are not many pirate decks surviving, then the Crolla is just getting dusty dust in your collection. It's not getting played anytime soon. If there will be a lot of pirate decks on the ladder, you can just tag in the Crolla and this one will help you a lot. I doubt that there will be many pirates, but you can't be sure. So let's just wait and see, otherwise I guess the Crolla is not getting played anytime soon. The next card I have for you is the so-called Tar Creeper, which is a neutral minion costing 3 mana and has a 1/5 in stats. That is not looking too big, but look at the effect. It has Taunt and is getting +2 attack during your opponent's turn. This is an effect that is also seen in other card games like Shadowverse. They are doing cards like this a lot, and it is helping you to prevent aggressive decks from just spawning stuff on the board. The Tar Creeper is excellent against that, and it's also keeping yourself in check, though you can't just hit face with 3 attack, because 3 mana 3/5 with Taunt would be insane value. So that is not happening here, and I really like the card. It should be really decent. Plus there is an elemental tag on it, so it's elemental race, and Blizzard was proposing some sort of great elemental stuff happening in the expansion. So far we haven't seen any elemental effect happening, but that is still coming, so the elemental tech might be very, very useful. Maybe it is possible to build some elemental decks, and then the Tar Creeper is even improving in value. So this one is definitely seeing play. I like the card a lot. It is well designed, and finally a card that is strong but not going face, and is really good against aggressive decks. The next card I have for you is the new Paladin epic called Dino Size, costing 8 mana and sets the minion's attack and health to 10. When they revealed the card, there was a lot of backlash from the community against the card, calling it super crappy, but in fact the card is not super great, but also not super crap. It is alright. With 8 mana you can get a minion to 10/10, which is interesting because, for example, you can attack another minion with a unit, and then after the attack your unit is getting damage and you can just set the attack and health back to 10/10. So that's an interesting effect. Also giving you the opportunity to, for example, have a small silver ant recruit on your board side at the 1/1, and then in the next turn you can play the Dino Size on it, and it is boom, a 10/10 with more or less charge because it was already on the board. So that means there is a little Pyroblast effect for Paladin. That's 10 damage in the face. Plus it is possible to play Stoneta's Boar, which is a charge unit costing 1 mana in the same turn as a Dino Size, so that could be a 1-turn kill card with a lot of damage burst potential. I'm not calling the card super great, but I would assume that there will be some decks that are using the card. It's definitely not a card that you want to use on, let's say, a Jade Golem that has 13/13 in stats. You will not use a Dino Size on this one. Might be in some special cases, but normally you want to use it on your own minions, have a huge minion on board that can either in a trade, or you will trade first, have a damaged unit and then play the Dino Size, or you're just going face. So there is some potential in the card, and I would assume that there will be some decks that try to build around the Dino Size. If that is successful or not, we will have to wait and see, but there could be some decks that are emerging out of the Dino Size card and that will be good. So we will have to wait and see. Might be good, might be not, but it's definitely not super crappy. The second to last card that was revealed is the new rogue legendary called Sherazin Corpse Flower. 4 mana unit with 5/3 in stats and has a death rattle effect. Go dormant, play 4 cards on a turn to revive this minion. So what means go dormant? It means that the card is transforming into another card, which is called Sherazin Thief. So it stays on the board and it's occupying 1 slot on your board, so you're only allowed to play 6 other cards on the board, 6 other minions, and if you play then 4 cards in a turn, the minion will revive, so you have another 4/5/3 on the board. As far as I know, the card is not able to attack directly in the face, so you need to wait 1 turn, just like you have played that normally. But if the card is getting killed again, it is going back into go dormant, so when you play another 4 cards in a turn, you could revive this minion again, which sounds interesting on paper. But when you think about it, it is highly unlikely that you are able to revive the card more than 1 time, because you need to play 4 cards in a turn, and this is very hard to do more than 1 time. It's likely with the Gadget and Auctioneer and some coins, stuff like that, that's definitely likely to do 1 time, but it's unlikely to do more than once. Plus you can't hit the face directly with the card, and the stats are not that great, so it is dying easily to even 2 drops, which have 3-2 attack. And there is better stuff out there for Rogue to play on turn 4. Unfortunately, the Tortollan is rotating out of standard, so could be that you need to play the Corpse Flower. Right now, I don't like the card too much, so the stats are not that great. There might be some use for it, but we will have to wait and see what else is in the expansion. Again, can't be sure about that. There might be some tricks for the card that will allow you to attack directly. Also, it would be very interesting if the Unearthed Raptor is still in standard, which is unfortunately not happening, so you can still do that in wild. But with the Unearthed Raptor, you could copy the Death Rattle effect, and then the Unearthed Raptor is also staying on the board after it was getting killed. So that might be an interesting deck for wild. Definitely looking forward to try that out. Right now, I'm not a fan of the Corpse Flower. Might be good later. We will have to wait and see. So let's check out the last card now. Last but not least, we also got a new Hunter Legendary called Swarm King Dred. 7 mana, 9/9 in stats, so he's overstatted. And after your opponent plays a minion, attack it. This one is new for Hearthstone, the first time you're seeing such an effect. And it's a very interesting one, because your opponent can decide what he will do when the Swarm King Dred stays on the board. So if he has, for example, a poison unit, he could just drop that on the board and the King Dred would just die instantly. The poison unit is also going down, that's for sure, but that's not the question here. And also, if your opponent is playing Divine Shield units, the King Dred is just attacking them, getting rid of the Divine Shield. With all the Adept stuff that is in the UNGORO expansion, you can also adapt stuff like the poison units. So you can just play an Adept unit, find the poison, and then the King Dred is attacking that, because the Adept effect is happening before the attack. So an interesting unit, some call it garbage, but as you can see with the stats, for 7 mana you're getting a 9/9, that's better than the average card. That means Blizzard definitely knew that the effect can be a disadvantage for the card, can also be an advantage. It's depending on what your opponent is playing. If there is no poison card, then the King Dred might be very useful, because your opponent is forced to play units. If he has no destruction, he's forced to play unit, and the King Dred with such nice stats as a 9/9 will just kill everything instantly. Highly unlikely that your opponent has a bigger unit in hand than a 9/9, so I would say that's a nice little killer. Not a card for the Face Hunter, of course. In a Face Hunter you will just play the King Crush and go face, just the same amount of stats here, same face damage. But the King Dred is more for a slower Hunter build. So far there were not that many successful Hunter builds that were slower. There were some Reno Hunters from time to time that you could play, were not the best ones. Normally Face Hunter or Midrange Hunter is always better, so we will have to wait and see if the King Dred can be really find a place in the meta. I like the card so far, it is well designed in my opinion, better than some of the other Hunter legendaries for sure, and I hope that there will be a slower Hunter deck for the King Dred to shine. Would be very nice. I like the card, and also the artwork is pretty cool. Some small little T-Rex here. Anyway guys, with that we are at the end of today's video, because this was the last card that was revealed. We got 11 new cards, so a bit under 20 of the cards for the UNGORO expansion are now revealed. Probably on Monday they will reveal more, and then ongoing until the start of the expansion, because there are more than 110 cards left and we only have around 2 to 3 weeks until the expansion hits, so they need to hurry a bit. I will then do another card review video when more cards will be revealed, so wait for that. If you have enjoyed the video, give me some feedback in the comments, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It would be very helpful, and also helps me to improve the video for the next time. If you want to see some specific stuff, just give me that in the comments as well. Thank you for watching, and see you then in the next one. Have a good night. Bye bye.